Ooh, something's gone live. Ooh. 2 people. Hello. It's working.
What's working?
I
How do you know what's working? Even I don't know what I was trying to fix.
Well, I've got a little ace in the hole, so on the inside, I could tell something's gone live on YouTube.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You should share the live stream on Facebook, on your Facebook.
Live stream on Facebook. I did.
How?
I shared the link to the YouTube.
You should share the link to the Facebook stream on your Facebook. I know, it's important.
Okay. Do you have to be my friend? My Facebook friend?
We
are
are
Facebook
also
friends?
Facebook friends.
I don't know if we are.
So on Facebook it says you're going to be live in 2 minutes and there's a
Beautiful.
countdown.
Amazing.
So how do I take that link and?
So if you go to Facebook and you just look up Ramon Mazinga,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you should see something. You should see something which is not there. Just refresh. This is the wrong one. Okay, let's just refresh this page once. You don't have the Facebook app, right?
No.
That's all right. We just need to refresh this page in a couple of minutes and it should give us what we need.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can just press share. That's all we need to do. It's actually easy. So once we are
You can or
once we are online,
yeah.
just start the intro and then everything is fine. I think we're already online on YouTube.
That's what my people have messaged me that is the case indeed.
Yes. So the timing is like weird. This scheduling thing works in a different way on each different platform, but that's all right. Nobody cares.
We're all learning.
Yes, I'm very sleepy today. Cheers with
Chin chin.
water. So Julian, let's just wait a couple of minutes
I'm happy with this.
for everyone to be online.
24 seconds.
Fantastico, fantastico. Stai facendo pratica di italiano?
Va bene, ok.
No, hai fatto in questi giorni un poco?
No, niente.
Niente, perché?
Perché sì.
Va bene.
Va bene così.
Non
Mi
è
piace-
importante.
No, è importante, però mi piace parlare con te così, senza praticare, senza un'idea di parlare di cose, I don't know, specifico.
Specifico.
Mm.
Sì. No, non lo so. Water. Or water. Water? Water.
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 It's interesting how the same word can be pronounced in so many different ways. This is the perfect opportunity for a game show.
Yeah.
Nothing's coming up.
What?
Yeah, nothing's coming up. It says it's only you that can see it.
Ah, that sucks.
Mm.
Just a second.
We need some intermission music.
Just switch back.
We want a 15-minute intermission.
Should be live.
Oh, good. We are online. We are live.
We're live.
All the let me help you
Beautiful.
to do the sharing thing, or just yeah. I'm sure you can do it.
We shall see. We shall see if I get a link up. Let's do it.
It is not working. How is that even possible?
Ramon Mazinga, you're not quite the Ramon Mazinga that's you're purported to be.
It doesn't make much sense. I'm so confused.
I wouldn't worry too much
Why is
about
there a
it.
different problem every week? This is a bit annoying, frustrating. Anyway, I think we should just start.
I think so too.
Yes. Can you check if we're online on Facebook?
We're live.
And is it?
Whoa.
But why it doesn't show like public?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we should worry about my little view into Facebook. I think it's quite limited because I only use the browser. I don't use the app. Do you use the app?
No, I don't use the app
Why not?
because I don't like Facebook.
Let's drink to that. It's a good start.
If I could live without Facebook, I would definitely like delete my account again for the 5th time, but I need it for work, basically marketing reasons and all of that.
Yeah, you're definitely live on Facebook on my end.
And is it public?
Yes.
Yes, it is. My people tell me it is.
Okay. I like that you have people.
Yeah, I like my people too.
Your people are cool.
Yeah, she's very cool.
Much cooler than my people. I don't have people.
You have people. I'm sure you have people.
What kind of people are we talking about?
People that are close to you and younger than you.
Yeah, I do have people.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about your people? What do they think about this experience, this podcast thing that we're doing?
Well, really, I communicated it with a bunch of my friends, but
You want some tea?
no, I'm all good. I have beer and water and everything else.
You want nuts? You want to go nuts?
I'm not ready to go nuts yet. Once we have a wardrobe change and then some sunglasses,
Oh,
I
is
think
that
we go
part of the
nuts.
program? Fantastic.
What?
A wardrobe change.
Well, that's why I brought the hats. I thought that would be a nice mix-up.
Love it.
Because
Love it.
You know when you look at these Facebook streams or these live streams, and sometimes you just go through them. You just go 30 minutes in, an hour in, you go back. I thought it would be funny if I'm dressed in a different hat, like every time you hit a new timestamp.
It will work. Yes. I'll do the trick.
And I also like hats.
Yes.
So anyway, I told my friends about it, but they were all like, wow, that sounds so cool. What are you going to talk about? And I just said, I'm just going to talk with Ramon.
Yeah, I still have no idea. I think an interesting topic to start with is your new passion, because I know you for so many reasons and so many different interests. But what you recently got into is bread making.
It's all about the puff, baby. I got into bread making.
Yes,
I think half the world got into bread making with Corona.
that's true.
People were stuck at home. Everything was a bit more expensive. People had a lot of time on their hands. Why not cut some costs? Why not do something fun? And why not learn how to make bread? So
How long did it take to learn how to make bread?
So there, I got to pull you up. It's a never-ending process. It's like learning Italian or learning. You
I'm
know,
loving it
something
already.
like that. It's forever. And
As you know, I'm like I love never-ending journeys in general of all sorts.
The puff. You got to get into the puff. It's all fascinating because it is marketed like bread is essential. Everyone has bread, some form of it.
Yeah.
Flat bread, dry bread, there's sort of some flour that is maybe corn or something like that. Some sort of flour that they make into a bread, right? Or a tortilla or something like that. So it's in every culture. It's marketed differently. It's got different properties, different tastes. Like everyone knows about it.
I love bread, but I'm trying to go carbs free or like low carbs.
This is
How does that work with?
I don't know how that works. Like you've got to find another way to do the puff.
Yes.
But even though it's, you know, something so ubiquitous, it's also something that's somewhere like Sydney. It's very fancy. You want to buy some bread, you got to pay for it. You want to buy good bread, you got to really pay for it. And
That's true.
this is kind of a bit annoying.
And still.
Yes, exactly. So I got interested in making bread when we were in lockdown, and I started easy. I started making soda breads and these sort of breads that don't have yeast, and there's not much of a balancing act of puff and timing and all that. You just sort of mix everything together and bake it. And then I started to get into yeasted breads and trying to get a bit more fancy. And so you can go the big fancy end of the scale. You can go for that sourdough. And like sourdoughs, you need the starter.
Yes.
You need the, what do you call it in Italian? The madre.
Lievito madre.
Lievito madre.
See.
And this is amazing. Like that is truly phenomenal. To get into that, you've got to put days into it. And you've got to like dedicate time, think of scheduling, maintain the starter, make sure it's healthy, and then use it. And baking sourdough, the main ingredient is time. It takes at least, well, there are different recipes, but like a day process, essentially.
So what is that you like in the process? Like the fact that it takes long and it's something that you need to like nurture and you see it while it grows and like, I don't know, like
lots of things, but I think I've come up with an answer just then. You need to speak like 3 or 4. You need to communicate with the dough at 3 or 4 different stages, and each stage is like different.
Communicate with the dough.
You get to mix it, and you get to feel it, and you get to fold it, and you get to manipulate it, and it gives you the feedback on what it needs more of, and you get to have some idea of what's going on.
So you need to learn the dough language first.
Something like that, yeah. And it's kind of nice because you have to listen to this thing, and you're also right. There's a lot of time that takes place. Like this isn't quick. This is a process that takes a few hours. You have to wait.
So what's the first step? Like let's say I want to get into bread making like now, today. What's going to be my first move?
Ingredients.
Okay.
You need flour.
Okay.
You need yeast.
Okay.
You need water and a bit of salt. That's
Okay.
it. That's it. Then you need ways to combine those ingredients. So you need a bowl. You need to measure the ingredients. This is fundamental.
What happens if you got it, if you mess up the measures?
So this is like one of the first things I really like about bread. It is precision. Like you can get a few grams more of water, a few grams less. That's manageable.
You measure water in grams?
Well, you can measure it in mils, but grams and mils for water is equal. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Yes.
get rid of mils because who needs it?
Who needs that?
Yeah, people speak of bread as a percentage hydration. So they say like 70% hydration. That means you've got 70%, the weight of the flour is water. So you've got a 70% hydration. So then you don't have to worry about grams per se. You just worry about
Percentage.
percentage.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's nice. It simplifies things.
Yes, it does. Especially if you're good with numbers.
Or ratios. Measuring ratios, that is.
Yeah.
So anyway, you need to be pretty spot on with your measurements. You need to get like a gram scale, one of those electronic scales or something really accurate.
Okay.
Because you don't want to be too much over or too much under. Then, once you combine those ingredients, you can't be like throwaway with whatever happens for the next few hours. You need to make a note of what you put in at what measurement and how you prepared it, because that bread is going to come out differently to another bread that you make later on, and you're going to wonder why. And you have to take notes. You have to really do a bit of a scientific or a study into what you're doing as you change the bread. I love that.
I like that you're like the inner researcher that you have is like comes out and you apply all of that into bread making. Like you have a very scientific approach to this process. Reminds me a lot of like a chemistry lab sort of thing.
It's exactly that. Because
but I doubt the bakeries have the same mindset.
Ooh, that's a good question. That is a great question. And this is where bread becomes an interesting topic, because bread is everywhere. There are bakers everywhere in the world. And yeah, how much do they go into the fact that gluten is only formed from the white part of the wheat kernel, and the bran, the brown part, that is what forms the wholemeal part of the flour. And knowing, the different levels of protein that are in the kernel will affect the hydration level you need to use to make certain breads. And so there's quickly this like chemistry scientific approach that you can go down, being concerned about your ingredients. So within just the ingredients and the equipment and the preparation, there's already like scientific method everywhere. There's chemistry going on. There's understanding of things that are like more fundamental than just going to the bakery and buying a loaf.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Fantastic.
And the more you get into it, the more you're like, I need to know more.
Okay. It's always like the same with learning new things. Like if you like whatever you're studying, you want to go deeper and deeper and learn more. And it reminds me of like when I bought my motorbike and I didn't know the first thing about motors or bikes or anything. I was telling Nikhil today. My mom was always like worried about me on a the concept of me on two wheels.
All mums are like this.
So
and bless them, as they should be.
Anyway, the point is that I went from bicycle to Kawasaki Ninja 600 with not even like riding a moped in between. Like I had no idea how like two wheels with a motor would feel.
In Italy, they just let you go on a 600.
No. So I never ridden a motorbike, and then when I turned 23, which I think, or 21, which is the minimum age to get unlimited license for a motorbike, I just got my license and bought a Kawasaki Ninja. And after that, I started studying a lot about motorbikes, and I started like even into like panel beating. I got into like I started like repainting all the carene and all of that, and learning how to change the gear wheels to
the yeah.
So I don't know
the different sprockets.
Sprockets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's the gears in the transmission.
Precisely.
And then there's the two sprockets that spin the chain.
Yes. That's that was interesting. And then I sold it. But you just bought one. And it's a KTM.
Yes, that is true. I just bought one. A KTM 790 Duke 2019. It's gorgeous.
I know. I've seen it.
I didn't bring it here today because I had to bring some hats. But it is wonderful. It is a twin 800cc metallic kind of bike that has a ripping motor in it, and it's absolutely a peach of a motor.
And I love KTM mostly for the aesthetics, because it gets me worried that wherever you look it up on Google, everyone says these bikes are fantastic, but they're unreliable. After few thousand kilometers, they just like break down.
Yeah.
Is that true?
They don't break down, but from my experience, so this is my experience. I don't want to poo-poo like KTM in general because they're awesome.
Oh, that they are.
That the geometry of this bike, the power of this engine, the way that all comes together is incredible. I've never your weight is very on the forks. It's very responsive and it's very easy to flick around. This is the perfect motorbike. But other little things are a bit not quite right. For instance, on mine, I got a little brake fluid leak the day I rode it home back from the shop. And that brake fluid leak spurted brake fluid all over my like TFT display, like little mobile phone display you have as your dash. And it like ruined the electronic display.
That must be covered by warranty.
It was covered by warranty, thank you KTM. And the reason that broke was because this little gasket that was worth like 20 cents was the cheap gasket. It wasn't the good gasket. And so they, under warranty, had to replace a $1,200 TFT display when they could have just manufactured a proper or put in a proper gasket.
Worth maybe 40 cents instead of 20.
Exactly. So, I mean, you can't get it all right. I think this is where Honda, the Japanese bikes are like supreme.
I really want to get
lots of bikes for a long time. They know all the issues.
Africa Twin. I have only 2 words for you. Africa Twin.
Mamma mia. Come on.
That's going to be my next bike. Like, there's no doubt on that.
You need to ride that bike consistently off-road.
Yes. That's the reason why I want to buy it.
Perfect then. Perfect.
I love the link that you sent me. What's the name of this YouTuber guy again?
Fortnite.
Fortnite, yes.
Fortnite, yeah.
Bike reviews.
Those reviews are out of this world. The production value is
Yeah. They're movies.
Insanely good. And entertaining, like so watchable.
Yes. And he was saying that he likes much better BMWs for like a mixed use.
Yeah, for a mixed use.
So that made me think, because I'm not going to be off-road all the time.
Yes.
But is it worth it to get that kind of level of high performance when you're off-road, to struggle a little bit in traffic? What do you think?
Depends on how you ride. So I ride a lot in the city. So I think for me, a road bike is perfect.
Yes.
But if you are going to go to the dirt, go on a trail, go maybe adventure riding where you go camping and these kinds of things, then great. You know what I was like when we went off-road.
Yes.
And that was an experience.
That was quite an experience. But because you don't have even, like the wheels are not the right wheels.
They're not the right rubber.
Yeah, nothing was right for off-roading on the bike. But you managed very well.
Yeah. That was.
I mean, you survived. That's all that matters.
A few kilometers of
very stony trails.
Yeah, dust and stone and a few gaps in the road. And
how did the bike take it? Like, it was alright?
Really good. It was the first time I'd been, because I only had the bike for a month, and the back end was like all over the place.
Yes.
The front end was flicking everywhere.
Spacchettare.
Yeah. And I survived. Like, it was a different way to ride the motorbike. It felt good to be in that position with a new bike, because like you learn things straight away. It's that moment like where I was like, I've got no idea how this bike is going to perform. I just got to take it easy. Like, try not to slam the front brake, because that's going to end everything.
Was that your first long trip with that bike?
No, but it was the first time on gravel after a long trip.
Okay.
So
Because on the actual highway, you were literally dancing on the motorbike. I remember you've been passing us and just like,
well, it's a fun motorbike.
it's
So
also in your blood as a.
it's
I just noticed you have a samba something hat cap thing.
Mm-hmm. This hat is a hat I got in Barcelona. I think it's a sunglasses moment, huh?
Barcelona. What were you doing in Barcelona?
I've
been there 3 times and it's been like horrible experience every time.
What?
Not because of the city, because of other issues. But you go first. What were you doing in the beautiful city of Barcelona, Spain?
In Barcelona, there was a festival for a Brazilian dance called Samba de Gafieira.
Ooh.
And Samba de Gafieira is one of my favorite dances. And this festival was the...
How does that look like? Can we pull up some sort of like YouTube demo Gigafira thing?
Yeah. Can we do that technical?
Of Barcelona.
No, of Samba de Gafieira. It's Samba space DE space GAF and autocomplete should do the rest. But Samba de Gafieira is a Brazilian dance that is heavily influenced by Argentinian tango,
Okay.
but also samba music.
So it's like tango mixed with samba, basically.
It's tango. Well, it's a happier kind of tango.
Samba.
Let's see. There's a space between the DE and the GAF.
Do you dance any other dances?
I dance lots of other ones.
So what do you dance? What can you dance? I cannot
Uh,
dance any, like, I'm just bad at moving, coordination, music, tempo, rhythm, and it, like, just no.
You want me to just shotgun it out? All the dances?
Yes.
All right, let's see. We got Samba de Gafieira, Salsa, Bachata, Cha-cha-cha, Forró,
What's forró?
another Brazilian dance.
Like pretending that I knew all the others.
Forró is like what's an Italian one? The like, oh no, tarantella isn't really couple dancing, is it?
No.
No.
What would I know anyway?
fair
Like,
enough.
I guess not.
Okay. Yes, there's a YouTube of this is a class of Gafieira.
So it's called Gafiera. It's like G Gafiera. What's the G? Like, what does it mean?
Of.
Oh.
Of.
So it's the samba of Gafiera.
Yes.
So what's
Samba of
Gafieira?
Gafieira, it used to be a place where, there you go.
So it's a couple only.
It's a couple dance.
You cannot dance by yourself.
No, you can. So,
But that's just sad.
no. So this guy, actually, I should tell you about this guy. This guy,
Can we skim through?
he is the maestro of Samba de Gafieira in Brazil. His name is Jimmy de Oliveira.
Oh, you know this guy.
I know this guy. I've met him. I've danced with him.
Oh,
And
cool.
I've had lessons with him. And he is like the founder of
The
the
Gafiera
modern-
movement.
one. So all dancers, like in time, they get spin-offs or they get different sort of qualities about them. Maybe people dance to more modern music and change the moves slightly, and it kind of evolves into a bit of a different dance.
Okay.
Samba de Gafieira kind of has this traditional style or a more funkiado style, which is more funk music. Because back in the like 80s and 90s,
Like
Brazil had a
tango.
lot of cool funk.
Like tango evolved into Macarena kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was the backstory of Macarena, right? It's Argentinian.
Tango.
I'm not
Dun
sure.
da da dee, da da dee, Macarena. Dim ba da da.
Kind of sounds like tango in my head. Anyway,
Anyway, I mean, this
Looks
is
very quiet.
this. I
like
can't.
very
I can't
gentle.
hear much, but
Yeah, there's like no audio for it.
How is that possible? Is it muted
No, it's
on
not.
the mixer?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Like,
Anyway.
everything's all good.
Jimmy G. Oliveira, I don't know how old he is. He must be maybe 50s or 60s. He's still traveling around the world. He's still doing shows. He's still giving it 110%, like this pure Brazilian sort of energy that he just embodies. And he loves it. All the great samba de gafieira dancers around the world, like, have some linkage with this guy, have worked with him somehow way or another. You can see videos of him back in like the 90s or even before, dancing this style that no one knew called funkeado, that funk variant, and he invented it. And so he's a big deal. He's the big guy in gafieira.
All the best things come from Brazil. I mean, all the best evolution of things, like jiu-jitsu, how it evolved into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and traditional jiu-jitsu is like, but Brazilian jiu-jitsu, fantastic.
Well, I don't know the difference.
That's a huge difference.
It's all ground grappling, I understand. Yes. But what's like, do you play samba music in the background when you're doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
You most certainly can, but no. Yeah.
that was almost as bad as your Macarena joke.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of capoeira, where you play music while you dance, while you sort of fight, but not really, but they think they do, but they actually do, but not really. I don't know much about capoeira either. I shouldn't talk about it.
Yeah, so go through jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
What's the?
It's just like it's like a specialization of something that is like broad, and traditional jiu-jitsu involves also, like, has 3 different stages, and involves also striking, and it's just a point system, I think, in the competition. I'm not sure. There's point system in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well, but it's everything happens like on the ground. There's no striking in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's just basically, for what I've been told, because I don't know much about traditional Jiu-Jitsu, but this 3rd stage of traditional Jiu-Jitsu is just explore more in depth, and that's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Just like a 1/3 of traditional Jiu-Jitsu, but in depth.
All right. And so,
if that makes any sense,
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is from Brazil, or is it more of a?
Yes, okay. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is definitely from Brazil, but it comes from traditional Jiu-Jitsu,
which comes from
Japone. Yes.
Okay, and so in Japone, in Brazil.
So that's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Right, rolling around.
And it's just like hugging and hugging and rolling.
Yeah, there's a big population in Sao Paulo, a big Japanese population in around Sao Paulo.
I don't know if like many. I mean, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a big thing in Japan as well now.
Oh yeah, so is actually samba de gafieira. Well, it's not a big thing, but like, but when I was in this, getting his pants ripped off. When I was in Barcelona, there was some Japanese there. It's so this is one of the things about samba de gafieira. It's not a big dance, like it's not salsa. Salsa's danced all around the world. Samba de gafieira is not that well known, and it's still growing, and it's still getting a sort of worldwide. It's being received by the world still. It's definitely not as big as salsa.
I mean, I heard of it before you mentioned it.
Right. And so for me, going to Barcelona and getting to dance with all these Europeans that were at this festival was amazing, because we have festivals in Australia, but the festivals are small. And
so there are samba de gafieira festivals in Australia.
not outright samba de gafieira festivals. They're mixed with other dance styles, which
Just
is
like
cool.
all sort of sambas or all sort of dances.
Kind of Brazilian dances.
Okay.
So there are other Brazilian dances. Zouk is the big one.
What's that?
Zouk is a dance that evolved from lambada.
Lambada. I heard this word.
Lambada.
Somewhere.
Lambada is that song that everyone knows. That da 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 ra, da 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 da
Gotcha.
da. And so
What are we looking at?
It's a two-legged horse.
Interesting. I don't know how that is connected with the topic, but I'm loving it.
the topic. Yeah, the topic. Zouk lambada.
I can't stop watching it.
Zouk. Yeah, so
Actually, do you mind turning the AC on? Because I'm sort of like melting
oh yeah.
a bit.
It's the hot
So,
tea.
Zuckerberg, what?
Zuckerberg. No, a festival of samba de gafieira in Australia
Yes.
is not a huge gafieira party. You go to somewhere like Europe and there's a bigger population of just people that dance
Just a second.
gafieira. And
I'm listening.
and so in Barcelona I got to meet this European population and it was wonderful, and there were not only Europeans but there were people from Asia and America and
Great.
Brazil, like South America. So you know, this hat actually is a memento from that occasion.
How long did you spend in Barcelona?
For that festival, I think it was like 3 or 4 nights. Yeah. And yeah, it was good fun. They get professional dancers from Brazil. They just bring them over to Barcelona. All the Europeans that are interested in samba, like there were maybe 200, 300. And we had classes during the day and then parties during the night.
That's Barcelona. Sounds like Barcelona.
That's Barcelona.
Did you get to see much of Barcelona besides the dancing?
A bit, because I stayed there a few days either side, and yeah, we checked it out a bit. But I've been to Barcelona before, so
Okay, how many times? I guess my question is
think
just like,
3.
do you like 3? Okay.
yeah, like you, I like Barcelona.
What do you like about it?
It is sort of like a nicer nicer.
It's a dangerous word.
A nicer version of Rome.
Ah, you can say that out loud.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different version of Rome because it's got like ancient, and it's got modern European, but then it has this like
Oh well,
beautiful-
if we're talking about history, then I think Rome might
Rome tops it.
just tops it.
It's incredible, but as a city, I think Barcelona is like
Yeah,
it's
no comparison.
It's more modern. It's got fancier things, but it really, I don't know, the mix of old and new and the different, I don't know, quarters, the beachside, it's all pretty spectacular. And I don't know, as a tourist there, then you've got Gaudi stuff
Yeah,
all over the place.
it's a bit like Sydney in a way,
yeah,
or Melbourne.
well, like Sydney. And it had the Olympics,
Yes,
like Sydney
like Sydney
and like Melbourne.
and like Melbourne. Not like Japan.
They're about to have the Olympics, aren't they?
That's the plan, if COVID allows. I really want to try your bread.
So, we got off the bread conversation, but I did bring it in for a tasting.
Let's indulge in carbs. So how long did it take to make this batch?
This batch took about 4 hours.
Okay, that's not too long, is it?
That is
When you
long.
said it takes time, I thought, it takes like 3 days.
No. This
Like 2
this-
weeks?
This isn't sourdough. This is
Oh, okay. So sourdough is the like.
yeah.
Have you done any sourdough?
No. This
That's gonna be
I-
like
I-
your next project.
yeah, that's later on. Once I get puff right, and I've got
Oh.
puff right.
You got puff. Oh,
There's puff.
That does look good.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be surprised. Like, oh, of course that does look good.
It is puff. There you can see puffed up, and this like the cross section. You
Yes.
can see that there's fluffiness. There's nothing too dense and stuck together. It's light.
Okay.
It's good. So, cut away.
How do you do the crust? Like how do you make the crust to be crusty and the inside to be fluffy?
You put boiling water in the oven as you bake the bread, and this
But
gives
just splash like a bucket of boiling water in.
No. You put a tray of boiling hot water in the oven just before you put the bread in, and that makes the oven environment.
Oh, it becomes like
Moist.
a sauna.
It becomes like a sauna.
I wanna have a sauna. I haven't had a sauna in ages. Thank you.
That is how you make a nice crust. And one of the beautiful things about it, like this is the intimate details of bread making, right? One of the beautiful things is once you take the bread out of the oven,
Yes.
once it's done, because in the oven it puffs up, right?
Yes.
Right? It puffs up and it goes hard on the outside. And then as it cools, it loses temperature and it sort of shrinks back again.
Oh, really?
And as it does that, the crust breaks slightly. And it makes these little crackles as it cools down.
Which is a cool thing, right?
Which is very cool. And it makes these crackles and it releases this perfume of the bread.
Ah,
And
which
it's
comes
like-
from the inside.
And that's just a wonderful thing. The bread has this little, I don't know.
Almost magical.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just trying to avoid
I think the studio needs to invest in a new
Refined.
knife.
yeah, I don't have a bread knife because I don't eat bread. But I want to do a little bit more research because nutrition wise, I'm changing my diet are you under a specific diet?
Yes. But you first.
My diet is not important.
Okay.
Because I don't have one. I keep changing. I'm just exploring and like doing research on myself, trying to see how my body reacts to changes in sleeping habits, nutrition, exercising, other things that I shouldn't mention, and that's pretty much all.
There's a lot of variables there.
I know.
How
That's why
you-
it's a never-ending process.
That's kind of like bread though. You can change the amount of ingredients, but if you change how you put it all together,
Mhm.
then you're changing many things at once. So it's tough sometimes to understand what is the important thing that you're changing.
This is good bread.
Thank you.
I like that we're like breaking bread and.
Hey.
Why is that horse still there? I love it. That's fantastic. Okay. So yes, you passed the bread test. Now, what do you think about whole wheat, like wholemeal bread?
Good.
Okay. What makes you choose one or the other?
All right. So white bread is
Because this is what I'm trying to avoid more specifically, like white bread.
okay.
Also, like pasta that is not brown.
Right. Yeah, that's difficult. So
Is it more difficult to make?
yes, because the white part is what makes the gluten. Once you add water, whatever the chemistry is in the white part is what makes the gluten. Gluten is what makes this kind of, it doesn't just rip apart. It's got texture. It's got a sort of structure.
Stickiness.
Yeah.
Ish.
And that's gluten.
That's gluten. And gluten is good for you because...
Gluten is good for some people, but celiacs and other people
celiacs
don't dig it. Poor peeps. But, there are other alternatives out there, which is good. And adding a bit of wholemeal flour to the mix changes the quality of the flour, changes the amount of gluten, it changes the amount of water you need in the process, and that changes the overall texture.
I find extremely fascinating that you go in such depth, considering your background as a researcher and a mathematician, and you study everything about the process, how to make bread, but then why don't you go deep on the different effects that different kinds of bread have nutrition-wise?
This is a bridge too far. I think that is...
Knowing me, if I start baking breads, I end up building ovens, and then I start studying how to create electric energy, and then I know. That's why I'm avoiding to start new things, because I know that I just derail, and yeah.
Came back to the very first word I said, puff. Right? Fall in love with the puff. Once you can make the puff, then you've got your base recipe. Once you've got your base recipe, then you can modify, and you can wonder why modifying is maybe appealing. Mixing grains into this dough flour, would make it more nutritional for whatever reason the grains give, right? But that would change the structure completely.
Yes.
And that would require a different recipe.
I know.
I'd have to learn that. And right now, I'm just so happy about my puff that I get. So, baby steps.
Baby steps. It reminds me a lot of when I was playing table tennis.
Yeah.
And
what happened?
I was getting a lot into table tennis, to the point that I was playing in a minor division, semi-professionally. To the point that what are we looking at?
This is retro wave visuals.
It's very hypnotic.
Enjoy the ride.
Thanks. It's like staring at fire.
It is
like you just look at it and
it kind of seems like it's on a loop, but I don't know if it is.
I think it is.
No. It's a really big city.
Yeah.
Table tennis.
Table tennis. Tell me more about it.
Just as simple as I wanted to improve my table tennis skills, so I had two different options. One was become a better player, so train more. One was study how table tennis bats are made and understand the technicalities behind it. So I did both. So I was training, but at the same time I was studying how a table tennis bat works, because there's a lot to know about it as well. It's different layers of different woods glued together with different glues and different techniques, and it's not just woods, it's different fibers and artificial fibers, and then the rubbers, and then there is some sort of gomma piuma, which is called foam. Anyway, to that point I was like, okay, this is interesting, and I started building table tennis bats.
Right.
And I was studying how the cool brands were doing those, and I was creating something that was sort of similar in terms of tech specs, and this is very good to attack, and this is very good to defend, and this is very good if you want to do a mixed sort of game. Anyway, To the point
Mm.
that I started playing with these bats, and everyone in the division where I was playing in, they started ordering bats. Like I started manufacturing
you
bats for the whole
changed,
division. Yeah, because I was making the same bats, like same quality level, but just cheaper.
That's awesome.
And they were custom because they were handcrafted, and I was like doing some just for a showcasing purpose. So I was carving the handle like with dragon or with a tiger. Like it was
Very
just like,
nice. And
so
they
you
were,
can
they
have
were
the-
high quality.
yes,
So they were
and other just normal for regular games.
perfect.
And that was a slippery slope because then I wanted to start mass production. And I also wanted to get into like how the rubbers are made. That was too complicated. There's a lot of chemistry involved.
Yeah,
and
yeah. But
So
that's still cool.
a big company just ordered me like a ton of things that I didn't have enough time to start like such a big production in so short time. At the same time, something else must have happened. I can't remember what that was, but I got interested in something else and I stopped. And this is how everything goes. Just like study and derail.
Oh, well, that's not the end of the story.
It kind of is. I stopped playing. I stopped doing.
Why'd you stop playing?
I was doing something else. Can't remember what. Oh yes, I wanted to sell them on online. Since I could not fulfill the mass production order, I created an e-commerce website, and I started a brand. But once I started a brand, I needed to create an e-commerce website.
Yeah.
So I got into computer programming and how to create websites. And that took a completely different turn. So, now I want to create a brand. So that was two different roads
Okay.
as well. Like I want to create a brand,
I see.
and I started a brand like fashion sort of things, like selling T-shirts and stuff. And at the same time, I started learning how to make websites.
You need to outsource. You
I
need
know.
to delegate.
I
you
know,
need
I know.
to realize that
No, but
maybe
it's
that
not.
you can't do all this yourself. Drive it.
I know what you mean, and I agree 100%. The thing is that before to delegate, first thing, I like knowledge. Like I
Yeah.
like to learn how to do things.
Fair
And
enough.
I don't need to get the best at that job, but I want to have an understanding of how that works, because if I'm going to hire someone to do the job, I want to be
Yep.
able to tell them, I need this, I need that. And
No, fair.
instead of coming up with like absurd demands that
Yep.
they cannot, So, yeah. And if I find something interesting, I just want to start it. It doesn't mean that I want to do that job for the rest of my life, or not even like become good at it. Just like I want to.
But it
understanding.
does at the same time. It sounds like you get to the level, and then you just transition to another space. If you're at that level in one space, that's when you get the new person in, or the I don't know, someone else to help.
Some things, but then I mess up with other. I shouldn't tell this story, and I won't. But I joined forces with someone, and I fucked up the relationship with that person.
Oh, okay.
So that's why the
Plot
table
twists.
tennis bats didn't move any further.
I see.
And
see.
I still to this day regret part of my actions, but not really. But I do. But like I'm trying to avoid some sort of inner conflict in here.
I see. Well, that's difficult. Like, it sounds like I don't know. You in the right place to talk about it, or not really?
Yeah, no, totally. The point is, I don't think I have regrets. Like everything I've done, I would probably do again, because everything we do. This is something that I believe. Everything we do, regardless of the outcome, it's always right in the moment we decide to do it, and only in that moment.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
this means that you can, if I wanna like punch this bottle right now, it's fine. And if I decide to not to do it a moment after, I can change my mind, and that's fine as well.
Okay.
Okay.
It's how the world works.
Yes. But some people just go like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. That was a bad decision. It's not, because every bad decision teaches you a lesson. And if you're smart
Right.
enough, you're going to learn from that mistake.
Yes.
So we do make mistakes, but we should not have regrets, because mistakes are constructive.
Yes.
Unless you just keep repeating the same mistake,
Yeah.
which is something that I do as well.
Well, there are many levels of this, right?
I know, it never ends. It never ends. Nothing
It never
ever ends.
And it's also sometimes hard to analyze what is a regret and what is a like reflection sometimes, or what you're proud of or maybe not proud of. It's sometimes a
Yeah, see, I'm not
difficult
proud
way
of
to
how things
analyze
went.
How things went.
Not proud of that.
Yeah.
But,
Time goes on.
yeah, shit happens.
Well, that's why, for me, and I'm not wanting to avoid this topic, but finding the puff was like what I'm so proud about, because I'm just worried about the puff of my bread. I know how to do other styles of bread, a few other ingredients, and I just want to build on that base and just keep on focusing about the puff, and that's it. I don't want to worry about mass production or making really fancy artisan sort of crazy things like you can get here. I just want to have good puff and
So you're a specialist. Like, you want to just focus on your craft thing.
no, I'm a home baker. that's all the glory I deserve. And not even a home baker. I just say
I do know home
Someone-
bakers here in Sydney who actually have like make a living out of home baking.
wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not a home baker then.
No, I mean there's different levels of home baking as well. Do we have any comments? Is there anyone who cares about whatever we're talking about?
That's a good point.
Not about the bread. Someone said Nicolas Cage is the jiu-jitsu master.
I think I have an idea who that might be.
Jiu-jitsu.
Have you watched the
comes
movie?
around every 6 years.
Oh yes, yeah. It does. 2026, I think.
That's
It's the next.
jiu-jitsu
Like, we should watch that film all together every 6 years.
Yeah.
And Nikhil says, I want the bread.
Nikhil, you know where it is, baby. You know where it is. Nikhil, also bring a knife, please.
He says it's coming.
Come in. We have space. We have microphones. We don't have knives. I should buy a bread knife. So see, this is another thing. Like, I would get into knives, and then I would want to build knives and forged in fire.
Forged in fire is the term. Forged in fire is what a show. What a show.
I know. I watched one episode.
Oh, did you? Which
Yes.
one?
The first one.
Yeah, where they have a female contestant on the first one.
No. So it wasn't the first one then.
Yeah.
There was some sort of like big guy who won, and then the others who lost.
Maybe what season was it?
Season 1?
Oh, season 1. Oh, I've not seen season 1. I've only seen season 2 and above. I've never seen season 1.
Okay. Why not? So you have this ability of starting things halfway.
Well, no. I don't. It's not a quality of
It's a
myself.
skill.
It's a quality of SBS on demand, that television channel, because it's on demand service. I don't think have rights to season 1. They don't play it anyway. So it wasn't an option. So I just started from season 2, which is amazing.
I think it was on Binge or something else.
Oh, all right. Maybe I don't have access to that.
I don't know. I watched it.
Did
with
you
her.
like it?
It was definitely entertaining. No. I did like it.
Yeah?
I did like how everything was super weird. Like when they were doing some tests, you could tell that like they should have done it differently.
Really?
Yeah, there was like this test where the guy was cutting a rope,
Yeah.
and the guy who was cutting the rope was like, they already had decided that the contestant was not going to win. So the guy was just cutting the rope, but like not putting much energy in it, like just like, it doesn't cut. I'm sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah.
Because on the previous stage, the guy broke the tip of the knife,
Yeah.
and then he put it back together, but there was a crack still.
Yeah.
So they already decided that he's not gonna pass that
Yeah.
level of selection.
I mean, that's fair enough because you don't.
But the knife was sharper than the others. So they couldn't justify if there was the only one to cut the rope. So it was just going like, it doesn't cut, I'm sorry. And other guys was going like 2 hands like crazy. I loved all of these things.
It's great.
Yes.
Great. Like, it
Yes.
keeps on going too, and it builds on its sort of, the historical weapons that the contestants have to make.
Yes. I need to watch more.
It's pretty fun.
I never done anything like that, like working with medals.
No, me neither.
I'd
Me
love to
neither.
do that.
Yeah.
You know, I used to have my own workshop, and I was. What happened to my microphone? I cannot hear me anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, it's back.
Yeah. Should we
I
go
w-
nuts?
Go nuts. Go nuts. I'm okay.
Nuts.
I was building furniture. I just like working with
Which is after the multi-million-dollar table tennis bat.
believe it or not, I started building poker tables, which at the evolution of that thing was exactly the same. I started at there were many levels in that. I started playing poker with friends, then I started studying poker, Texas Hold'em. Then I started playing poker in clubs to make money. I found out I was pretty good at it because I'm good at like reading people in a way. So after that, for 3 or 4 years, I lived out of poker.
Really?
Yes. And then I transitioned into online poker. And then
Can you read people the same then in online poker? I've no
it's
idea.
it's
of
it's
this
a completely different game.
game.
Different, yeah. It's different.
Okay.
And you play. It's all about statistics. So on real poker, you use you still need to use mathematics, but tells are more important,
Mm-hmm.
and psychology. In online poker, you can label the players and you know if they have a recurring pattern of behavior, but the main thing is you play large scale numbers. You know that a certain action with certain odds is gonna give you a 56% chances of success.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do the same action 1,000 times, 560 times, you're gonna get your money back, or you're gonna win something. So it doesn't matter if you win or lose, because you play those odds like in the long run, and in the long run you're gonna win. And since it's not a game where you play against the house or against the casino or whatever, you just play against other players. It works. This is something that you can not do when you play blackjack or roulette or other games, casino games. Anyway, after that, I started hosting friendly home games with friends because I was like overwhelmed by like when you play when you switch into online poker, at least back in like 2000 whatever, early 2000, it was a wild west. So people were coding boats and playing at 20 tables at the same time. I was doing all of those things, and on one hand, I started coding my own bots. So I got into programming again and learned how to create a poker playing bot. But on the other hand, it was like too much to handle because you need to play for like 10 hours a day, every day, on 10 tables at the same time. Like if you want to make a profit, because you need to play multiple games to have that kind of advantage. So I just wanted like, okay, I'm gonna just retire from my professional poker player career.
Yeah.
And I started working as a poker dealer in casinos around Europe. But at the same time, when I was going back home, I was hosting games with friends. And I realized that a kitchen table or a living room table or something like this, it's not really cool when in the rest of your like poker life you play with professional poker tables. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna build a poker table for myself and for my friends, and we're gonna have fun in a proper casino set, sort of like home. So I built my first poker table, which comes with like a cushion padding around.
Yeah,
Like
I was gonna say, is it carpeted and does it have cushions or
Yes.
like something?
yes,
Yeah.
and
alright.
there is a carpet on the surface.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really nice. And then I didn't stop there because people were having fun and it felt like a secret sort of club. So I built a bar counter and shelves and like a mini fridge and a sink, and people would come in and bring drinks, and
Where
they would
was
have their
this?
own drinks. This was in where I used to live before. This was in Italy. This was in Italy. It was fun, and then some people started asking me to build things for them. So I got distracted by poker. I stopped being a car dealer, and I started building other things. And since my main occupation is filmmaking, at some point I started building dollies, like dolly carts
Oh yeah.
for cameras.
Yep.
And that was amazing because it takes not much to build a semi-decent one
Okay.
in terms of effort, time, energy, money, and it pays off a lot.
Yeah.
But then I had to get into working with metals, which I had no experience in, and not enough tools and not enough space to buy the tools that I needed.
Right,
Because you
okay.
need to like solder stuff, and you need to melt, and you need, I mean, if you want to do it right.
And it's quite a specific
Yes.
version of that because you have to make these fairly robust, fairly technical. Like
Yeah,
they've
you
gotta
need
be
to
able
buy
do a
certain
lot.
parts that like you
Yeah.
cannot measure, because like micro precision, like
Yeah.
things. But still, like it was fantastic. So I made like a couple, and I sold them. One I sold to somebody in Austria, and another one, but the margin was like 800%. It was just unbelievable.
Wow.
And another one I shipped it to Africa. Like anyway, that was really, what was the what were we talking
You
about?
wanted to learn metals or something, forged in fire, and learning.
Just stop me when I go on a rant. Like,
You went quite deep, but that was quite interesting. You seem to get into things and
this is the tip
give it
of
a
the
go.
iceberg. This
That's
is nothing.
good.
This is
That's
nothing.
good.
I've done so many things that. In a way, it's a total waste of time.
No, it's not.
I mean, I'm having fun, but I'm not like, how do you say, like jack of all trades?
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes, I definitely master nothing.
Well, you have the experience to get back into making dollies or something like that.
That would require a fairly equipped workshop.
Well, maybe you can make one. You've
Yeah.
made kind of something like that here.
Yeah, I mean, I did build a podcast studio without like this is the same exact example. Like I went like, okay, I think I want to do a podcast. First thing, I'm gonna build a podcast studio without knowing the first thing about it.
Well, you did well.
Yeah. And now this place is actually becoming a business. It already is.
And look, you got salt lamps and all.
Yeah, that's the first thing that you need in a podcast studio.
Ah.
Because this thing actually traps the humidity in the air.
Oh, I see.
You don't really need it, but it's cool that it's orange. That's really cool.
Are most salt lamps orange? I feel they are.
Yeah, it's pink salt, and when you put a lamp inside, it gets
Yeah.
orangish.
Yeah.
I don't know much about salt lamps.
Well,
Only thing I know is that if I turn it off, it releases the humidity, so it makes like a pond. Releases the water that is like, right now it's trapping water inside, like soaking water, and then it releases it.
the wonders of Sydney.
Yes. I mean, we're just 2 minutes to the water anyway.
Yeah.
So, you play the guitar.
I played the well, no. I once upon a time played the guitar.
Okay.
And we all once upon a time played an instrument.
Yes.
For me, it was the saxophone and the guitar.
Do you still own a saxophone?
Yeah, at my parents' place. And when I go back to my parents' place and stay there for a bit, I rumble through like the old wardrobe, and sure enough, there's my sax.
Why don't you bring it here?
Well, it's in another state, and I could bring it to Sydney, but like a saxophone is a tough instrument as a child. It's a tough instrument
Yeah.
because
You need
like-
big lungs.
you need big lungs, but it's loud.
Yes.
You know, like a keyboard, you can turn it down lots, well, electronic, and you can plug in headphones and.
But
all
this
that.
one specifically, you can just play it in your headphones. Yeah.
Yeah, a saxophone, you got to blow and blow hard.
Yeah,
like
that's the Lisa
it's-
Simpson
it's
effect. Like,
noisy.
yeah.
So if you live in an apartment like I do, it's a bit tough on the neighbors. So you get kind of self-conscious of it, but it's a fun instrument.
I used to have a few saxophone players, friends
Oh, yeah.
in Italy. What about the guitar?
Yeah.
Were you studying both at the same time?
No, I kind of.
You know where I'm going with this, right? No.
No.
Don't worry.
I kind of learned the guitar, just self-taught myself because I was a 20-year-old that was interested in the world and learned some little guitar riffs and thought. "How does
20 years
this
old
work?"
is it when you were in Italy?
No, I was in Italy. Actually, it was earlier. I learned the guitar when I was like 17 or so. Yeah,
When were you in Italy?
I was in Italy the first time when I was 25,
Okay.
26. Yeah. Yeah. And there was no guitars then. It was just traveling to Italy and studying Italian in Florence.
They have a interesting accent in Florence.
The Coca-Cola.
Sì. Quella cosa lì. But I mean, that's where the true Italian comes from. At least that's what they say.
So I learned.
Back to the guitar.
Mm.
So, as you know,
As I know.
nothing. I just need you to play the guitar.
Okay.
Beat.
Beat.
Slam poetry.
Oh, yeah. No, that's fine. You can do that on the bass. Just like a walking bass line,
Can you play that?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay. We need to do some. Not
We-
now because I don't have the cable to connect that. It's actually not mine. It's yeah.
No, I think we do that. My amateur like finger picking and
Okay.
your words of encounters at the end of the line.
Yes, that's the very first song. Can we call them songs? I think that's not the right term.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know.
Componimenti. Composition.
Yeah, it's a composition. It's almost like a story.
Yeah, it is a story.
Hmm.
Anyway, that one, Encounters at the End of the Line, it's the first one that I ever written in English.
Well done.
And I think I want to do more.
It's quite good.
But my musical skills are below zero. So I need somebody who has at least an understanding of how music works or how music works. My bar is very low. Like I cannot even do like something tempo like no.
I can help you with tempo, and I can find an A or something, maybe a B.
Sure. We should do that at some
Yeah.
point.
It's a done deal. It's a done deal.
It's a Dundee. Oh.
Mm. Yeah. So you never played a musical instrument at school?
I did keyboard.
Okay.
I totally forgot everything about it. And I can play a little bit of ukulele
Hmm.
and harmonica. But I'm just terrible at it. Like I know the rules. You know, like I know how to make a C chord, but I don't know what that means or how that would fit with the rest, or like I'm just like I'm terrible musician. I'm not even like I'm just bad. I don't have a sense of rhythm. I think that's I was trying to get lessons from music teachers, and they all of them, because I thought, oh, maybe I just got a bad teacher. All of them were like, you're hopeless. Like, nope.
That's not a good music teacher.
All of them.
Oh, that's terrible. I mean, depends on how hopeless you actually are, but I don't think you'd be hopeless. Like, I was a hopeless bread maker when I started, but when you start, you're hopeless.
No, but because the same thing happens. Like, if I make a note, I want to know, like, I digress into like the wave of the sound, how it's generated, and now like I just go into a different direction that I shouldn't even bother.
You need to find your puff. I think your like safety word to stop going down the.
I was building guitars at some point. Yeah, without even knowing how to play.
Wow. And you made them?
I made 3.
Awesome.
One was working.
Yeah, that's full on. Making guitars is. I mean,
I
you
bought
have to get in the woodwork.
the neck. I just bought it.
Okay.
The rest I built. Because for that you need like precision, and I could have like attempted it. It would not have been great, but it might have sort of worked. Like not a guitar, okay, maybe some sort of other very basic string instrument. I could build that as well, but a guitar you need a lot of precision to do all of that.
Yeah. You do. So you went down the guitar making rabbit hole
Yes.
instead of improving your guitar skills.
Yes. I just can't play.
Yeah.
I as much as I can sing. I have no sense of music whatsoever.
I think
That's why my songs are actually stories, and I talk and recite instead of.
but you're very good at that.
Thanks.
And I think like you I don't know, whatever drives you to keep on going with that and craft yourself to be better at it or get a better word or something like that, that's kind of like your puff. It's the thing. I think you're
I like that everything is a puff metaphor.
well maybe I'm
It fits
overdoing
everything.
it,
No.
but like the puff is bringing it back to the bread, is like it's what's driving me to get better at bread, and it's not the chemistry and all that. So I'm not wanting to make guitars, I'm not wanting to make knives, I just want to get the puff. And maybe because we've talked about spoken words before and essays and things like that, and I think you've got quite a skill at it, and you always talk with a lot of zeal about it. Like, it sounds like you're energized by it. So that's your puff.
That's my puff,
Maybe.
which is gonna derail as well. It's gonna bring me somewhere else. I'm sure.
Don't. It's good. We're gonna get into beat poetry. We're gonna learn like hi hat and snare drums.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely need that. Any comments? Any questions for Julian? Listeners or spectators?
Comments says, and the presenter of the Forged by Fire has the smallest forehead.
Ooh.
That is true. His
Really?
proportions are interesting.
Will something.
I don't know if it's the same guy from the first season, but we noticed while watching that the guy was wearing like a very wide, large shirt, and his head was like tiny.
Oh.
Do you think he does that on purpose?
Are we talking about the same person?
It was just a guy with head to eyes.
Can we get the presenter of
Yeah.
Forged by Fire season 1 and season 2 on the dial? Because the season 2 guy, he's got like wavy hair. Yeah, Will.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
him.
this guy.
Look how small his head is
To be honest, I never noticed.
compared to his neck. Like he's a big guy.
Yeah,
like,
he's pretty big, but yeah, okay. I mean, his collar's not doing him favors here. It's making hiding his neck a lot.
It's not too disproportionate.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe just his forehead is like maybe like half an inch too small.
He's got a good head of hair.
Yeah, and I love his delivery, like the way he presents.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's like-
as a guy with a small forehead, no, he's got really good delivery.
Have you watched this show, Chan?
No, I haven't. What's it about?
Forging
it's
weapons.
fantastic.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
about
cool.
forging weapons, but it's a reality TV show, and it's sort of like MasterChef-esque in that they, all the competitors are against one another and have to forge a blade that is better than the other competitors.
Cool.
But
And I loved how crazy it was that the final prize that's gonna change your life is $10,000.
yeah, and they all work for $10,000. But that's cool because it's all about being the forged in fire champion.
Yeah, but they go like, oh, I'm gonna do my workshop. I'm gonna buy all of this thing like with $10,000. Like, what, how is that like? How is that even a prize?
So the coolest thing though about this is that, well, not the coolest thing. There are many cool things. One of the like standout cool things is that, at the end of, I think the last round, they make an old blade in history, right? A big sword or an old axe or something like that. Some sort of impressive weapon, and they have one of their tests is the kill test. The kill test.
Oh, with the yes,
Like they get ballistic
with a dummy, yes.
dummies, and they just hack into them with these weapons. It's pretty full on, pretty brutal.
Yeah, because they're very realistic
Yeah, they have like organ bits and stuff like that. Anyway, they get this
and
their-
liquids
their
inside.
weapons.
So when you stab them, they kind of bleed.
Yeah, and their weapons specialist. He's a guy called Doug Marcaido. He's an expert in this Filipino martial art called Kali.
Kali, yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, he's got this like cute accent when he speaks English. Well, not cute. He's got this. I think it's a bit of a Filipino accent. And anyway, when he tests if the weapon will kill, he like tests it, and then he looks at the blade and he's like, "This will kill," and he never pronounces kill like Kill. He pronounces it Keaell. It's like, it's just hilarious. He's always like, "This will kill." There he is on the screen.
It's a good show.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a bunch of memes that are "it will kill." I reckon there's some t-shirts. It will kill.
Is this still going? Like, are they making new seasons?
I don't know. I kind of hope so. I think this. There you go. You can just tell he's saying "kill" right there. He has this great look on his face when he says "kill" too. He has this wry smile. Oh man,
That's
yeah, pretty full on, huh?
yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, is there anything else that you want to share with those 7 viewers that we probably have?
There's 7 viewers that.
Or listeners. So you know that this podcast is now live on a lot of different podcast apps and distribution things.
No, you told me it was going on Spotify.
Yeah, it's also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of them. I'm just
Oh.
putting it everywhere.
Wonderful.
Hopefully people will listen.
That's very
For
cool.
some reason, why do you listen to podcasts? Because we're not talking about any specific topic.
Yeah.
Well, today is bread, but there is no topic of this passing through thing. We're just like,
So I don't listen to podcasts too much, but I know when I have listened to podcasts, it's been when I'm doing something like driving, on public transport, on a plane. When you've got time, but you're sort of doing something where you can, listen and do the something, whatever you're doing. I don't really listen to podcasts in the background when I'm working or when I'm
No, I don't do that either.
working out or something like that.
I
Not
have
that I work out much.
I think I have a problem. I feel like I'm wasting time if I'm not engaged in activities that stimulate both my body and my brain. So I didn't used to go running because my brain would just like start overthinking things and feel like I'm wasting my time. I could be productive, I could be creative or something. In the same way, I would not read books, for instance, or listen to podcasts, because when you read a book, you're just like flipping pages, but your body is not engaged.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, and like the gym were closed, and there was a moment where like all the movies and stuff that I wanted to watch, I already watched, and there was not new content coming up. Like it was like a short window of time where production was sort of stuck. And I started running and listening to podcasts and audiobooks. That was like, whoa, game changer. So now I read a lot of books, but I actually listen to them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I go running or do other like when I go climbing by myself.
So you
I just
run and listen to audiobooks?
Yes.
Right.
And I do the same when I go rock climbing by myself, like bouldering.
Nice.
Most of the time I'm with friends, but when I'm not, I'm just...
That's very cool.
Kiyosuke asks, can you make a sandwich with Julian's bread live, please?
Kyo, what do you want in this sandwich? We have nuts and salt that we can scrap on. Also, we can pour water on it. Any particular requests? So what's with the hats? Where is this one coming from?
This one comes from Mexico.
You've been to Mexico?
I've been to Mexico.
How many times?
Once.
How do you like it?
Loved it.
I never been there.
Loved it.
I was supposed to go there.
You never... Ramon once went to Mexico, I think.
Ramon
he went to Tijuana.
Ramon went on the board. Actually, Ramon's arm has been in Mexico.
That's right.
Like,
so I went to Mexico for about 3 weeks, I think in 2016 or 17. Something like that. Yeah, it was wonderful.
I really want to go. I have a lot of friends from there. I was supposed to go there in 2019, then the plan just like fell through. I think I'm always been... I traveled a lot, but I've always been concerned about traveling in Central and South America. Like I was never like interested in that area of the world. I would rather travel Africa or anywhere else. But since I have a lot of friends from Latin America and Central America and all that region,
yeah, you should go. You should go. I actually had a funny, well, the main reason, or one of the big draw cards to go to Mexico was I was going to go to another dance festival there, which is a salsa dance festival.
okay.
So I go a lot of places to dance. And this dance festival was, yes, salsa. And I was going to go with one of my Mexican friends who lives in Mexico City. And this dance festival was in Acapulco, which is on the west coast of Mexico. And Acapulco is known as a big drug... Well, it's got a lot of organized crime.
Yeah.
And the police like heavily patrol
I think Mexico in general.
Well, yeah, Mexico gets a bad rap, but well, it does have bad history and bad things still ongoing. So anyway, me and 3 other non-Mexicans, there were 3 of us and our Mexican friend, and we went to this this salsa festival in Acapulco. Everyone in the salsa festival, unlike Barcelona where everyone was from somewhere in Europe, no one was from anywhere else. We were the only 3 gringos in the whole festival. Everyone else was Mexican. It was fantastic.
Must be.
So one of our party members was Japanese.
Okay.
And like everyone wanted to dance with her just because there was no other Japanese kind of people there. Like we actually look quite different, all of us, this group of three, compared to everyone else. And so we got lots of dancers, and everyone was so nice and just happy, smiley, and they like party seriously. Like it wasn't like a Solstice festival in Australia or something that ends at 1 or 2. This literally went till 6 in the morning, and then it went to the beach and stayed for another
that's
few
the
hours.
way it's supposed to be. Australia
Awesome.
is a bit quiet on that front. Like there's not much going on.
We follow the rules.
Yes. Yes. A lot of rules. Strictly
much.
followed. How do you find time for all of these interests like puff and dance and huts and bikes with your work?
Well, I went all these dancing things in the past.
You don't dance anymore.
Unfortunately, dancing has taken a massive hit due to the pandemic. And so there are now dance communities, be it organizers of parties, DJs, musicians, schools, promoters for events, that they're all like taking a huge hit as people in that space, because social dancing just got walloped. There was no going out anymore. There was no dancing. There was no bars that were open, and that really hit hard. I mean, in Australia, some of it's opened up briefly, but as we keep on getting 1 or 2 cases, it quickly closes down. So there are dance classes now that are open, and you can go to them. But for that, I don't know, 6 or 8 month period, that really like socked a lot of, artists and people in that space. So there's not much dancing going on now for me. So
I did dance flamenco for a short period of time.
do tell.
I just got interested. Yes.
Can you do the clap?
No.
Yes. Come on.
Ah,
Yes.
sort of. I was ages ago. I had hair long, like very long, like till my butt.
That's
almost.
Trey Flamenco.
I know.
And you need the
I took like 4 or 5 lessons, and then
Did you get the boots?
yes,
They're nice.
they're nice. But after my 4th or 5th lesson, I had an accident, work accident,
Oh.
and I had to shave my head because they had to stitch me up.
Oh.
And then I went to my next flamenco lesson with like shaved head, and I was looking at myself at the mirror, and I was like, this doesn't look like flamenco anymore, and I stopped.
Oh, that's
That's a sad story.
flamenco's not about your hair.
I know.
You can wear
But
hats.
for me, it was.
This is exactly.
You're like Samson from the Bible who gets his hair cut off and then loses all his powers.
Yes. And I lose all of
Aw.
my flamenco skills,
It's all
which I
gone now.
didn't have.
All 25 of them.
Aw.
That's all right. I was bad at it anyway.
Yeah.
Because it connected to music and coordination, which I really lack.
No.
I want to know about your work. This is something that I never actually explored with you
Right.
deeply enough.
Yes.
You are a mathematician.
Not quite. I'm a research
Research.
software engineer.
Okay.
So, I'm a software engineer that works at a university in the research space.
And what do you research?
I am part of a group that develops a modeling toolkit for investigating how the Earth evolves on geological timescales.
I have 2 questions.
Shoot.
The first one is not really a question. It's like, this is very interesting. I want to know more. The
Right.
second one is, why was I under the impression that your job was like mathematic related?
Because maybe we were talking about the things I write and the codes I write and how the modeling software does its thing, because it uses like a very cool engineering like tool principle, which is all based on mathematics.
Okay. Do tell.
It's called the finite element method.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Connection link done. Please elaborate on the geospinning thing.
Well, it turns out that humans are pretty good at doing models of certain things, and one is fluids. And a way you can approximate how the top 660 kilometers of the Earth behaves is as a highly viscous fluid. So you know how honey is
Viscous, yes.
higher viscosity than water. Water has a viscosity too, but
Yes.
honey has a higher viscosity.
And glass has a higher viscosity.
Exactly.
Just throwing.
And so you can approximate the ground as also having a viscosity
Higher than glass.
a lot higher, orders of magnitude.
Interesting.
And that
But-
means the time scales. Like
But ground is not
lower.
like it's a lot of elements altogether.
Yeah.
Like the crust.
Yeah. So that's why I say approximate,
Okay.
because
So it's the viscosity of the combination of all the elements that make the crust.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and not only because crust has a sort of specific meaning in geology,
Yes.
because there are different layers of the planet below us, and we know about those different layers because when an earthquake happens, there are all these stations around the planet that pick up the wave
Yes.
forms that earthquakes create, and you can actually trace where the earthquake originated from and how it was received on the other side of the planet, and you can get some idea for what it had to go through to get to that receiver.
Okay.
And when you take all of the surface seismic data and you can interpret it, this is a whole nother science altogether, which is very cool. But you can kind of make a map of the different layers underneath us in the planet.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Yes.
Yeah, so as I said, there's like about 660 kilometers of a substance that we approximate. We don't think we have the right details, but we can approximate with as a fluid, as a highly viscous fluid, and those different layers have slightly different characteristics in how they behave, because different layers are at different temperatures and pressures.
What's the application, the practical application of like whatever outcome is going to come out of this research?
So it's research for research's sake. It's sort of fundamental research, but it's also important in understanding what's underneath us.
Because
what
research
the
is generally
ground.
funded by somebody who has an interest.
Yeah, and there's sort of some work we do with exploration companies, and we get some funding from that. We get some funding from the Australian government, and that's the primary source of funding from the Australian government.
So that's why it's research for research. You're very lucky that you can do something that is like ends in itself in a way. It doesn't, but there is no major control from a corporation or something.
Yeah,
because
I'm
they wanna
actually
sell a product or whatever.
Paid to create open source software that the research community can use, and it's infrastructure, and I maintain it.
Fantastico.
And it ends up being an engineering code, so it's based on some very cool mathematics.
And is this like bread an endless journey,
It's an endless.
or you have like
journey.
a goal, a target, or
Yeah, definitely have milestones and sort of KPIs that I have to meet,
KPIs?
but I don't have there's no like full stop. I mean, what we want is not.
So you don't have like, I have a
finite
theory,
thing.
I want to prove that this is whatever.
No.
So
No.
like exploring, like wandering in the unknown and trying to find out what's what.
It's not that sort of blind. There's definitely direction, and there's also direction in.
It's like when you're in a RPG game and you have like half of the map, but you don't know the rest, and you start discovering the bits of the map as long as you move forward. Is this something?
Sort of
Like
like
that.
that. Sort of like that. Actually, we had a meeting today, and one of our PhD students, he loves bringing up this. This might illustrate the point about the theoretical nature of this field. He loves talking about this paper that my boss wrote in the 90s. Which is about an investigation into Venus and why Earth has one tectonic plate regime
Okay.
and Venus has another one.
Because Venus is the planet that is more similar to Earth, in theory, except for the gas in the
size.
atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah. But it turns out Earth is the only planet with active plate tectonics. So it's got plates on the surface that are moving around.
Is that because of water?
No. It's because of internal heat, basically, and what it's made out of.
But if you think of Mars, Mars should have more internal heat
Why?
because it's closer to the sun.
It's further.
Oh, so Mercury then.
Mercury has another kind of effect going on.
Oh, Venus is closer to the sun. It's like Venus, Earth,
Venus.
Venus, Venezia.
Venezia.
What's the order of the planets starting from the sun?
We can
It's
get that up
Mercury
on screen.
and then Venus.
Venus.
And then Earth, and
Earth,
then Mars. Okay,
Yeah.
that's as far as we need to know.
They're the rocky planets, right?
Yes.
And
So the ones that are closer to the sun
hmm.
should have more internal heat.
So Mercury is a bit different because Mercury is so close to the sun. I might be wrong on this actually. So yeah,
Can we look
Don't
up
believe
a?
Mercury's pretty close to the
I think
sun.
Mercury is actually it's kind of gotten a bit of an accordion effect because it's so close to the sun. So it gets a bit squeezed and like the planet as a whole gets gravitationally like manipulated somewhat
Fascinating.
as it goes around the sun, I believe.
Just
But
like the-
it's got no active like plates moving over the top of it.
If you look up just solar system, and we can look at the image of the planets. Also, I know that like the stato della materia, the matter.
Made. Yeah, what about
It's
it?
like, it can be gas and can be
Yeah.
fluid, liquid, and can be how do you say that in English?
Solid.
Solid.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. But then if you overheat, it reaches like a different status, right?
Well, you
It's
get
like
plasmas and things
Plasmas
like
and
that.
things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes beyond that on Mercury, or what's the?
No. Mercury is just a rocky planet.
So yeah,
But-
Mercury, then Venus.
Venezuela.
It kind of looks like a spritz.
Yes, or an orange.
The
Earth.
moon.
The moon is not. Why is the moon there? That's not. Anyway, cool.
So anyway, it turns out that Earth has these
Tectonic.
things on the surface that move around,
Yes,
and there's a lot of evidence that they
Other-
move around.
and there's evidence that other planets don't have it.
Yeah.
How? Why? How is that possible?
How is that possible?
Yes.
Well, we have like I mean, we're very close to Earth, so we can measure Earth a lot better, and we can see like we can take measurements. So, you know, the east coast of the east coast of South America kind of looks like it fits into the west coast of the east coast of Africa. Looks like fits into the
it's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, and so, you know, there's a whole another kind of group of related geoscience that looks into that, retracing the surfaces
Of the
of the
Pangea.
continental plates
Yeah.
and how they came together and they drifted apart and how they moved all around the surface of the
I think
planet.
it goes in cycles, like it keeps like
That's right. Yeah, and there's evidence to support that. And that doesn't look like it's happening presently on the other planets.
Okay.
Because there are big there are certain indicators that things are static on other planets. So instead of having mobile surfaces, they look like they have hard surfaces, kind of like an egg. You've just got this tough thing on the outer shell, and you don't have mobility.
This really bugs me.
Why?
I don't see why this happens. How is this possible? Like how do they explain it?
Well, because of heat and because of the substances that are in the Earth. Because take a gas planet.
Yes.
A gas planet is gas. Like
that
has
makes sense.
gas.
Like
all right,
yeah. Okay.
all right. And so then, the other thing is the heat and why we've got hot stuff down below. That is like part of the mechanism that drives.
I mean,
plate
if we're talking about a
tectonics.
rock like the moon, it makes sense. But if we're talking about other actual planets that sort of like resembles the Earth in the way the composition of whatever inside they have, like the whatever there is in the, you know, I don't know. It's intriguing.
Yeah, well, this is I mean, talking about other planets is interesting. It gets into like astronomy, or it gets into like galaxy formation, which is a total another field.
That's
right?
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And I'm not really into that, but there's one
Oh.
PhD student I was talking to. He's into that, and
send him here, please.
he
I
can
love
talk
galaxy
a lot.
formation.
He can talk a lot. You'd love him. Rowan is his name.
I want to talk to him. Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't do the fundamental research. I provide the infrastructure to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's sort of there's another cool thing in universities these days. There's sort of a funny league of this new profession of research software engineers, and they're somewhere between the yesteryear crew or the old generation in the 70s, 80s, and 90s who wrote like research codes in Fortran and really old school languages. And now computing has gone so far, and you know, it's come a long way. There's all these new languages, there's new ways to deliver software design and software like outcomes of research. And so they're updating their codes, but they're retaining the old, you know, the fundamental principles of the code, but they're putting it in, they're combining it with these new technologies. And so there are the researchers that use those new technologies, but there's also the technicians that kind of facilitate that, putting those ideas onto the new technology. And that's kind of where a research software engineer comes in, because you deliver these ideas on new technology and make it as best it can be, and continue helping the researchers.
Beautiful.
It's good fun.
Yes. Any comments on that? Anyone wants to know stuff about planets and
No, nothing.
programming? And no.
Just
Okay.
Nikhil agrees with Kayoshi. Kiyosaki saying nut sandwich.
Nut sandwich.
I think we're gonna skip the nut sandwich, and I'm gonna go to pee.
You're gonna go to
So I think we can wrap it up. Thanks
wrap
a
it up.
lot for the bread,
pee. My
your
pleasure.
knowledge,
Thank
your
you for the
your passion, and your hats and everything.
anytime.
I love talking to you. Okay.
I love talking to you too. This is so good. Well done. Well done to you, Chan.
Thank you.
This is excellent.
Okay. Buonanotte.
Buonanotte.
Molto bene.